a Monday episode of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Alex Donno with you, and I kind of feel like after that Miami Dolphins performance yesterday that I should be wearing a paper bag over my head, but you know my rule. We only start the Monday shows with the bag over my head if we're coming off both a Dolphins and Miami Hurricanes loss this weekend. And for the second straight week, Miami Hurricanes got it done. Miami Hurricanes went up into Pittsburgh and got a really big win against the formerly 17th ranked team in the country. A lot of conversations we can get into today, my friends. We're going to have our weekly Monday Dolphins therapy session with Alfredo Arteaga from 3 yards per carry. He's going to join us at 3:15. 3:40, we're going to get some betting picks, Monday Night Football tonight. And we'll talk a little Heat for tomorrow night. Heat at Dallas tomorrow. We're going to be joined by Mass from thedailystakes.com. Want to remind you that every single episode here of Donno Daily is served by the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. The Quarterdeck is the official sports bar of Donno Daily. We're going to have a watch party at the Quarterdeck, the Sawgrass location in Plantation, right by the FLA Live Arena where the Panthers play. We're going to be out there 1 week from today. Oh, get ready. Mark it on your calendars. 1 week from today, November 8th, we're going to be out at the Quarterdeck Plantation watching the Miami Heat at Dallas Mavericks, watching Monday Night Football. It's going to be a great time. You can enjoy those 2-for-1 drink specials, the happy hour, guys. That is all day, every day at the Quarterdeck. The Quarterdeck is the spot, my friends, to watch every college football Saturday, every NFL Sunday. You can get those 5 for $15 ice cold buckets, Heineken Light, Amstel Light, High Noon Hard Seltzer. Mix and match those to your heart's content. Guys, the food is so good at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. The buffalo shrimp, that is my favorite appetizer on the planet. I love the fresh seafood at the Quarterdeck. They even have sushi, and it's excellent. Or you can build your own poke bowl with tons of options and tons of fresh fish and fresh toppings. It's so freaking good, man. The sandwiches and the burgers, the pasta dishes, the salads. If you guys want to see what I'm talking about, get out there to the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. If you want to find the location nearest to you or peep their menu before you go, visit them on the web at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. And we have an official sports book here on Donno Daily. I know a lot of our viewers have already gotten our hookup and signed up. Of course, I'm all over BetUS.com. Sean Stanley, Manny Chang, they are all over it at BetUS.com. This is America's favorite sports book, my friends. They have treated me so well since I have been a member, and I've been a member at BetUS.com before they partnered with us here on this show. They have great customer service. They've got the best bonuses in the industry. They don't have crazy rollovers like some of the other sites do. BetUS will take care of you. And guys, there's no excuse not to get in. You have everything going on. I love betting the NFL, college football, UFC fights, international soccer, MLS soccer. They've even got a casino right there on the website where you can play blackjack, table games, a bunch of different slot machines at various games. It's so much fun, guys. I'm telling you, you need to take advantage of this offer because if you are a viewer of my show, we have a hookup for you. Use our code when you sign up and when you make your deposit. Use our code 5RSN125, and they're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus or 200% when you sign up with crypto. How good is that? 5RSN125 and bet sports, casino, horses, pop culture, and more at BetUS.com. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Oh, the Miami Dolphins. Now, something that I see a lot of, no matter who people are trying to blame for that loss yesterday, where the Dolphins are just not competitive against Buffalo. They've lost to Buffalo 7 straight times now. Haven't actually beaten the Bills since Josh Allen was a rookie and he missed Charles Clay wide open in South Florida. That's the last time you beat Buffalo. 7 straight losses to the Buffalo freaking Bills. Dolphins have not been competitive against Buffalo. Now, they were slightly more competitive against Buffalo yesterday than they were week 2, so I guess brownie points for that. Not competitive against Buffalo twice, not competitive whatsoever against Tampa Bay. You clearly see how many levels this Dolphins team is away. And something that annoys me is when I see lazy Dolphins fans trying to blame one person for this 7-game losing streak or for yesterday's loss, right? I see people that are trying to put it all on Tua Tagovailoa. I see people who are trying to put it all on Chris Grier in the front office, who are trying to put it all on Brian Flores coaching and on the 17 different offensive coordinators. I mean, if you ask me, Donno, who do you blame for this 7-game losing streak? Do you blame Grier? Do you blame Stephen Ross? Do you blame Flo? Do you blame all the offensive coordinators? Do you blame Tua? Do you blame the offensive line? Do you blame the defense, which played really well in the first half yesterday? If you were to ask me, out of those people, who do you blame? My answer is yes, because it takes a team effort to be bad enough to lose 7 straight games, and it doesn't even matter who you've been playing against. You play against great teams like Buffalo and Tampa Bay, you get stomped. You play against bad teams like Jacksonville and Atlanta, you get beaten. Oh, thank God for my Canes. But I got to tell you, man, and I see, a lot of people in the chat. Gianmarco, hello to you. Gianmarco, hello to Frank. And they're saying Grier. He is the one who builds the roster, yes. But still, if you look at especially the Miami Dolphins defense, there's more talent there than the results and the stats have been showing. They should be better, okay? Now, Chris Grier has had a ton of misses on both sides of the football, especially on the offensive line. He's not done a good job drafting. Obviously, he missed big time on Austin Jackson. He missed big time on Noah Igbenogany. I'm certainly not saying that there shouldn't be a hefty amount of blame that goes Chris Grier's way. If I'm going to assign a pie chart of blame for what happened against the Bills yesterday, and I've got to fill out the fattest part of that pie chart, who gets the majority of that blame? Guys, Brian Flores and that coaching staff, they get the majority of that blame for yesterday. These offensive players, they don't even know where to line up. They don't. Do we need to add another offensive coordinator just to make sure these guys actually know how to line up, not to illegally shift, not to see what was one of the most embarrassing plays all season that we saw, that snap that went off of Mike Gesicki, derailing a promising second quarter drive. And another thing was, and I'm so glad that Jason Taylor spoke up on the team broadcast, okay? And you even notice, and I was watching, by the way, the Extra Yard yesterday did a fantastic job, and obviously the wounds were very fresh because Louis Sung, Hussam Patel, Ethan Skolnick, they were broadcasting live on the Extra Yard immediately after the game ended. And I thought that Ethan made an unbelievable point because I guess before he got to wherever he was broadcasting from, he was listening to, the team radio broadcast. And because I wasn't listening to it, I was watching the game on TV yesterday. I did not listen to any of the radio broadcast. I heard some clips of it afterwards because there were some interesting clips that went viral. But Ethan pointed out, even Jimmy Cephalo was loudly saying, "What are we doing out there?" And that guy is usually Captain Positivity. I mean, if you find a way to actually have Jimmy Cephalo criticizing you on the team broadcast, you're doing something wrong. Joe Rose and then Jason Taylor, who had some really pointed criticism because Dolphins' final drive of the game, when the game was over, you lost. Pack your bags and go home. There was, scoring would not help you at that point. The game was over. And, they're out there running bubble screens and losing 3 yards. And I thought JT made an excellent point there. He was really criticized. You can criticize the play calling, of course, for the parts of the game when you were actually in it and you were competitive. But I thought JT was right to rip them for the way that game ended. Jason Taylor said, quote, "If you're going to run a play here in this situation, there's a minute left. Obviously, you've lost the game. You're going to run a play, and that's the play you run?" JT asked. "If you're just trying to get out of here, turn around and hand the ball off or take a knee. That's the play you run. You run a play for a 3-yard loss." Okay, he said, quote, "There are one or two things you do here," he continued. "You either take a knee and you go home without getting anybody hurt. Yes, please, because that's very important. Or you run the football twice and go home with no timeouts. To motion your back out of the backfield to an empty set and throw a bubble to your running back for a 3-yard loss. What is that?" was the way that Jason Taylor closed it down. Something else, I got to get to this, and we're going to be joined in about 5 minutes by Alfredo Arteaga from 3 yards per carry. Within the last hour, the Dolphins had another one of these media sessions with Brian Flores, which have, on the one hand, I feel kind of bad for Flo that he's being put in a position to answer questions that the general manager or the owner should be answering, because those are the ones that have to either pull the trigger in the case of Chris Grier, the GM, or sign off on trades in the case of Brian Flores. Because in the case of Stephen Ross, I should say, Stephen Ross has to sign off on it. Grier is the one who has to pull the trigger. Yeah, we can debate how much control over personnel Brian Flores has. I think he has some, but ultimately the decision to make a trade like Deshaun Watson is not really Flo's decision at the end of the day. He's got to be a passenger and go along with that. But Flo continues to get asked about it. Pull up for me, Sean, if you can, this tweet from Barry Jackson, who was in the media session about an hour ago. He said, quote, I asked Flores if there's any chance Dolphins will acquire a starting caliber quarterback in the next 26 hours. He phrased it that way because I guess he didn't want to say Deshaun Watson by name to Flo. A starting caliber quarterback in the next 26 hours before the trade deadline. He declined to answer that directly, said Barry, merely repeating, Tua is our quarterback, even though I asked him to give a more specific answer. So, okay. I know people are out there saying, well, why doesn't Brian Flores just come out and say, we're not making this trade? It's false. Well, he's not saying that because it's not false. And folks, I'm not saying they make the trade by tomorrow. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's very obvious that there have been negotiations, and I wouldn't completely slam the door on the Dolphins and Texans thinking there might be a slim chance they can get this done by 4 p.m. tomorrow. I'm not counting on it, but I wouldn't completely rule out. So, of course, Brian Flores, the head coach of this team, if you ask him, what is he supposed to say? Now, so for those talking about, Flo has left Tua out to dry, it's a really tough situation for Tua, and I sympathize. It's terrible, and I can't relate to a professional athlete who's making millions of dollars. I can't relate directly to that, but I am a human being. And if you've ever worked in a job where your employers clearly do not appreciate you, and they're probably trying to replace you, that's not a very good feeling. And that's what Tua has been going through for the last several weeks with all this Deshaun Watson stuff. But there's a reason why Stephen Ross, Chris Grier have been hiding, and why Brian Flores cannot directly shut it down. They cannot shut it down, and they won't shut it down because there is something to this. It's not a false rumor. It's not a media creation. It is a media perpetuation, because obviously the media has gotten a lot of mileage out of these Deshaun Watson reports, because it does make clicks and it does sell papers. If anybody still buys papers, I don't know who does. It sells subscriptions to The Athletic and whatever else people pay for. But there is something there. This is not founded on nothing, guys. And, sometimes the way that people consume information, I think that there's just too much legally that would have to get done between now and 4 p.m. tomorrow. I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to get moved by tomorrow. Okay. And I know a couple people in the chat have been saying, Donno, where's number 4? Isn't he supposed to be here? Now, I will remind you that when we started to have Deshaun Watson reports on this program, never once did I say it was done. I did expect it to get done. I said it could be done by XYZ deadline or by the trade deadline. I never said it was 100% going to get done. So please do not twist my words. And the twisting of words is something that happens a lot. Within the last week or so, I've seen it happen on both sides. Like, on the one hand, a couple weeks ago, when John McClain of the Houston Chronicle, I think this is about a week and a half ago, when John McClain of the Houston Chronicle said that there is an agreement in place between the two teams, a lot of dummies who didn't bother to actually read his story said, it's done, the trade, it's happening. That's not what he said. He said there's an agreement, but if you actually read more than a paragraph down, I know we like to consume news 240 characters at a time, or 280, whatever it is. But for those who actually bothered to read the second paragraph of his story, said, yeah, they've agreed to compensation, according to his report, but the Dolphins want Deshaun's legal issues sorted out first. So a lot of people jumped to the conclusion about a week and a half ago that John McClain said it's done. He didn't say it's done. And then over the weekend, I saw the opposite happen. So Adam Schefter, damn good at his job, damn good reporter. Adam Schefter reported that the Houston Texans are prepared to keep Deshaun Watson past the trade deadline to the end of the year. And then a lot of people on the flip side said, oh, Schefter said he's not getting moved. The trade's not happening. Not 100%, guys, because if you look at it from the Houston Texans standpoint, because now when McClain said the agreement was in place, that report was refuted by CBS Sports HQ and Josina Anderson, who said the agreement is not in place. It was also refuted by Pro Football Talk, who said, and this is interesting, that they did have a rough agreement in place, and then Houston started to see evidence of Watson settling cases or moving in the direction of settling cases. So then Houston said, wait, now we have to ask for more, because if there's a chance that his legal issues could be settled, we have to ask for more than what we're asking. So if there's truth to that report, then the Houston Texans telling Adam Schefter, we are prepared, quote unquote, prepared to keep him past the deadline, that could be turning up some pressure on the Dolphins and saying, bros, we're not going to give you any discounts, right? We're not so desperate to get this done by 4 p.m. Tuesday that we're going to give you some kind of a Black Friday special, like some kind of a cut rate deal. So this is all a negotiation. Again, there is a lot to get done, probably too much to get done by tomorrow at 4 p.m. for this trade to get consummated, but I'm not completely shutting the door on it yet. And also, I want to clarify, this is not my way of saying that Tua Tagovailoa is the number one problem on this Dolphins team. I'm not saying that. I'm saying actually that Chris Grier and Brian Flores, especially Grier, could look at acquiring Deshaun Watson as what Dave Hyde described as a get-out-of-jail-free card, right? That if Grier is trying to make sure he saves his job, that he could say, oh, if I can pull off this Hail Mary type of trade, then this may buy me some more time here. What are you trying to start here, Perfect Q? It says Black Friday. That's racist. I expected, if anything, I thought you would have said, that's a damn good analogy. Black Friday sale. And you're coming at me with the race card instead? How dare you? How dare you, sir? All right, let's bring in our first guest of the program. This has become, I think, mandatory viewing for everybody who's a Miami Dolphin fan. I'm loving the hat. He's repping 5 Reasons. I'm repping Bitcoin, even the last I saw were just a little bit of a dip. So maybe you want to buy that dip. We'll try to push this over like 100K by the end of the year. That would be nice. But Alfredo Arteaga from 3 Yards Per Carry is with us. Alfredo, 7 consecutive losses for this Dolphins team. Let me ask you, sir, and there is blame to go around. I said this at the top of the show. I'm not going to blame that loss on any one person, whether it be in the front office, whether it be on the field. I'm not going to blame this singularly on one person. But if you were going to assign the fattest part of the pie chart, do you give most of the blame to Grier, Flores, the O-line, Tua? Who do you give most of the blame to for yesterday?
Well, the O-line is mostly responsible for most of the losses, but I think you have to put most of this. You have to put 1 and 7 on Brian Flores, because Chris Grier has made a lot of mistakes in building this team, and some of those mistakes are fireable offenses. The offensive line, the way he's built it, the guys he's selected to play there, yeah, that's enough to fire Chris Grier. But he didn't build a 1 and 7 team. He built a team that's much better than 1 and 7. And I posted this yesterday. I posted this on Twitter like about half an hour ago. You really have to go back to last year, okay? And I think every criticism of this team this year should go back to last year because it was part of the rebuild. They won 10 games by an average of 13 points. This was not a team that was stumbling into wins. And if you want to say, well, they won some close games. Well, every team wins close games. You know what this team was in true one-score games, meaning games that could go either way on the last possession? They were 2-4 last year. Okay? So they earned those 10 wins. So you're talking about a massive regression on the team. Yeah. Is it by the talent that they added? Are they the wrong guys? I don't know. But I do know this is not a 1 and 7 team. Is it mediocre? Is it average? Sure. Mediocre and average is not 1 and 7. It's probably 3 and 5, 4 and 4, something like that.
You know, after a start like this, I'm really surprised. And yeah, they lost yesterday. But that was their 7th straight loss. So they've been on this trajectory for a long time. To this point in this season, long-ass losing streak, the only person who's been held accountable so far is Jakeem Grant, who was traded away. Like, why have there been no moves made at coordinator? Nothing tweaked on the coaching staff. And I will, for those who weren't aware, maybe because you might have completely shut your brain off right after the game and just, let me distract myself and go on to other things. It was interesting because Brian Flores didn't actually come out to his media session until an hour after the game. Like, reporters were waiting it's usually within 15 minutes or so after the game that Flores comes out and addresses the media. They were waiting an hour, which led people to wonder, like, was he fired, or is he firing somebody right now, or are they talking to Deshaun Watson? Like, nobody knew what was going on. Flores told the media that, hey, it took me so long to get out here because I was basically just sitting and thinking. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, that he was just kind of reflecting on everything, and who knows what was really going on. Maybe he's telling the truth. Maybe there's more to the story that he won't tell us. But and I titled the episode, Alf, that the 1-7 Dolphins need to make changes. And I think really it's time where heads should have been rolling by now. And I think heads need to roll. That, listen, I would not be shocked if Flo were to get let go. I don't think it's happening this week, but nothing could shock me at this point. But I think even before anything like that happens, you've got to do something with this offensive coordinator rotation. Like, either clean house there and bring somebody else in, or get rid of like one of the 2 or 3 coordinators and clarify the roles a little bit. Like, I find it really hard to believe that with how much this team has been suffering and torturing their fans and losing 7 straight games, that the only guy who's been held accountable so far is one wide receiver he had traded to Chicago. Like, what changes do you think need to be made? And maybe it does include a trade, not necessarily Deshaun Watson, but we are approaching the trade deadline. The Dolphins might do something. What do you think needs to happen now?
Well, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, it's time to rebuild and time to blow it all up. There's nothing to blow up. You already did that.
Larry Zonka even said that.
Yeah, there's nothing to blow up. You have a lot of young players that you kind of like, that you want to build around. What you can do is begin your purge around the edges. And maybe that's where they need to start. Like, a lot of these guys are just unavailable. I like Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker's a talent. I think he'll be great somewhere else. I understand he's not, he doesn't put himself on the inactive list. Those are the coaches. But maybe it's time for a change there. For sure, Preston Williams has to go elsewhere. If they could get a 6th-round pick for Preston Williams, I understand the talent, but there is no talent if you never play. But at this point, you lose 7 in a row. It's 2 months of losing. You start to think, you're especially cursed. You're not cursed. A lot of your mistakes, a lot of the problems you brought upon yourself, talking about Brian Flores. He's changed his philosophy. Yeah, yesterday, Xavier Howard, even the more they lost and the more they felt the pressure, Brian Flores became even more and more conservative in his play calling, in the way he managed the team. Xavier Howard kind of outed him yesterday by saying it felt good to get back to the type of coverages and the type of defense that we were playing last year.
Right.
And for those of us who watch film, we understand exactly what he's saying. And this season, it seems like it's gradual, right? They used to not have a plan at all for the Buffalo Bills. Now it seems that they kind of have a beat on what they want to do with Josh Allen. Problem is that their offense is just not good enough to score enough points. You need to score at least 2 touchdowns to beat the Bills.
Well, and also, and another thing is, like, and this, a lot of this goes back to coaching. Obviously, Josh Allen, a really talented player, so a lot of this is on him, but it's coaching as well. When, neither offense did much of anything in the first half, Dolphins or Bills. Bills adjusted in the second half when they started to get Cole Beasley involved, when they were attacking Nick Needham. Like, they made an adjustment. I don't know what the Dolphins' adjustment was. I didn't see it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. One adjustment they can make is get those points when you have them. And when you have opportunities, convert them into points. Jason Sanders misses a chippy field goal. He's supposed to be a really good field goal kicker, but he's missed some back-breaking field goals this year, including one that probably cost them the game against the Raiders. So this one, you got to make 36-yard field goals. And then that bad snap, it's on a bunch of guys, okay?
Yeah.
Tua puts Gesicki in motion. Robert Hunt has to understand this and not call for the snap when your tight end is right behind the center. That's disastrous. If you get a touchdown there, you're not only in this game, you're in the driver's seat. You're getting the ball back and you're up a touchdown at halftime. So you could start to really believe you're going to win this game if you could get a touchdown there, which they had an opportunity to. They had the players in the red zone to get touchdowns. You could throw jump balls to Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki and, maybe get a touchdown there. So, they make all of these mistakes. And then in the second half, you could see that the Bills decided, okay, we're going to throw a lot of flat passes and we're going to work short. If you're not going to give us anything outside the numbers, you're not going to give us anything on the hashes. And your two corners, Xavier and Byron Jones, which I thought they played really, really well for the most part. If they're really going to lock down on Emmanuel Sanders and Stephon Diggs, then maybe Cole Beasley is where we have to go. We have to start working in between the numbers and try to matriculate the ball that way. It worked. We never adjusted. We kept sticking to our game plan, trying to not keep Stephon Diggs into the game. And then toward the end, we get a little bit of we get kind of desperate. We start sending blitzes, and then Josh Allen gets us. That's understandable. But your offense has to get more points by that point in the game.
Now, yeah, I do want to ask you about the quarterback. Now, I wasn't expecting the passing offense to have big output, just knowing the defense they're going up against. I mean, the Bills' top passing defense in the country. I don't know what their number is, or in the league, I should say. I'm thinking college football when I say the country. I don't know what the number is after yesterday, but heading into yesterday, the Bills were only giving up 180.5 passing yards per game. And we know with Miami's offensive line that it would not be as easy. Tua would not be able to put up the Atlanta and Jacksonville type numbers against Buffalo. So I do take that into consideration. He did have an interception in this game. How did you feel Tua played?
Well, the Bills do have they have pretty much the best defense in the league. They have one of the best pass rushes, if not the best pass rush, the best pass defense. They also lead the league in turnovers. They're having one of those magical seasons where everything seems to go your way.
Like the Dolphins defense last year.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, that's what they're doing this year. That's what the Bills are doing this year. So I thought Tua was a little late. He was not sharp. And when you're not sharp, you're going to throw a lot of contested balls. And was he helped by his offensive line? No, I thought they played really poor in this game. He had no running game to speak of. Although Savon Ackman made a couple of plays, but not enough to help you win in this game. And his wide receivers, aside from Devontae Parker, could he really count on anybody? First of all, they wouldn't line up correctly. Second of all, Mike Gesicki's telling guys, look, you have to be on the line. It's an illegal formation. He's recognizing it.
Well, and let me ask you, why should Mike Gesicki be the first guy to recognize that, or should Tua be the one recognizing that?
Well, Tua should be recognizing it, but I think Tua was way too occupied with what was going on in the box because the Bills were bringing guys into the box, then taking them out. So he was trying to see, okay, if he comes here, he was thinking out loud, you could almost say. It wasn't a good Tua performance. It wasn't terrible either by any stretch. It was just the typical performance you're going to get against a really, really good pass defense. He wasn't good enough. He needed to be extraordinary to try to beat them, and he wasn't. But he was late. He was not as accurate as usual, I would say.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people get very confused what my take is on Tua and the Dolphins quarterback situation, because there seems to be this adversity building among Dolphin fans where you're either 100% in with Tua or you're 100% in with Watson. It's like if somebody tells you, I'm not a Christian, and so they assume you're a Satanist. It's like there's got to be something in the middle of that, right? I just and people get mad at me for this, but listen, I've been a Dolphin fan for long enough. I need more proof on any quarterback because I've been on this carousel for so long. I am far from convinced that Tua is the answer, but I'm also not convinced that making a Hail Mary trade for Deshaun Watson's baggage, and I look at the baggage more than Watson, because if everything was cool in Watson world and he could
definitely
play, then he's an elite quarterback, and Tua has not proven that yet. I'm not sold on all the baggage. So I'm frustrated, right? Because I am not convinced that Tua will ever be the guy. I don't think Tua will ever be as talented as a Deshaun Watson, but Watson's got all that baggage. Is that a fair assessment on Tua, or do you actually feel confident that Tungo Vailoa has the trajectory of a franchise quarterback?
Well, I think it's really early, but we have some things that we can go by. He's made 13 actual starts, because I don't count that Bills game earlier in the year where he threw 2 passes as a start. Okay. So let's wait till he gets to 16 or 17 starts. Let's look at his whole body of work, and let's see where that puts him with the rest of the other quarterbacks in his class. And let's see, what we actually have to build on. But I think that in 2019, they set upon this venture to build the team from the ground up And the fans really don't have the stomach for it. They saw 10-6 last year, and they wanted some type of progression. But this is a massive regression. And I think the Deshaun Watson thing, I think it's Flores and I think it's Greer that they don't want to go through with this. They don't want to go through the growing pains of developing a young quarterback.
Yeah.
It could get painful. Like there's going to be games where Tua's going to look like, whoa, like we found Drew Brees here. Like this guy's going to be really, really good. And after 16 or 17 games, you might look at his overall numbers and say, this is a really good quarterback that we're bringing up here. But then they're going to realize, okay, we still have like at least another 20 starts of this where we're developing a younger quarterback. And maybe we don't want to go through with it. I know it's lazy, but they're looking at it and saying, look, we get to jumpstart this whole thing really, really quickly by just going out and getting this one guy, Deshaun Watson. And then it changes the whole way that they look at the team.
Yeah.
Now you're going out to get veterans in free agency, proven commodities. You're no longer drafting the build. You know, you're taking a huge shortcut. Will it make the team better? Possibly. But, you know, it also saves 2 jobs. And let's not lose sight of that aspect of it. So who knows if these guys, if Flores or Greer are trying to sell Stephen Ross on this idea to try to save their jobs and essentially telling them, like, look, you know, clock's ticking, you know, you're 81. You might not be around on this earth for too much longer to see it happen, right? So I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting, I guess, 24 hours because we'll be right here looking at the clock tomorrow at this time.
Yeah. No, and it's and also like I've already had people like trying to dunk on me because they thought I said the deal was definitely getting done. I never said that. I said it could very well get done. I heard it was mostly done. And then I also see people dunking on the people who want Deshaun, saying, "Hey, look, it's the trade's not going to happen." Like, do you agree with me on this? That just because like Adam Schefter, he got a lot of people talking. It was either Saturday or yesterday when he had that report that said the Texans, quote unquote, are prepared to keep Watson for the rest of the season. I don't read that as a guarantee they keep him for the rest of the season. I think that they're trying to pump up the pressure to get a little bit more leverage here.
I think that the way I read it is the way I'm beginning to think in this regard. Chris Greer always strikes me as a guy who's really, really conservative as far as his assets or what he's going to put out there. And he always seems to want to win the trade. I think he's lowballed. I think he's lowballed the Texans the whole way.
Yeah.
And the Texans are staring at it like, man, do we really want to take one unprotected first-round pick?
Right.
Because the way I understand it is, you know, the Dolphins did want some protections. Who knows if they decided, you know what, you get your 3 first-round picks, but they're all protected. They all turn into 4th-round picks if this guy gets suspended for a year or something next year, or if he gets convicted of anything.
Right.
But tell you what, we could take all those protections off, and we'll just give you 1 first-round pick, and let's do an as-is sale right here, right now. Maybe that's what's going on, you know? And if that's what's going on, maybe the Texans are thinking to themselves, you know what? Maybe he does get off of this, and maybe we can convince him to just stay here and play. And if not, you know, next year he becomes a really hot commodity. There might be 6, 7, 8 teams vying for him, and we'll find him a place that he will want to go play. And we don't need the Dolphins anymore on their lowball offer. I think that's the way they're probably thinking. And if I'm Nick Caserio, that's the way I would be thinking. Like, you know, why do I got to fire sale him in 24 hours?
Right.
Unless the Dolphins do pony up the 3 first-round picks. If they come up with the full package, then fine. All right, let's do this. Let's do this tomorrow. But if not, I'll wait till the offseason. And you could have Philadelphia. You could have Carolina for sure. You might even have New England, depending on how the rest of the season goes on. So you might have a long list of teams saying, you know what? We're that quarterback away from playing in a Super Bowl. Dude, if I'm Nick Caserio, I'm probably waiting this out.
You and I think very similarly on that. By the way, let people know we have Alfredo Arteaga here from 3 Yards Per Carry. Now, you're going to be doing your first episode of the week about a day later, right? Because smartly, you guys want to record after the trade deadline, not right before the deadline. So let people know when it's going to drop.
Yeah, it'll be tomorrow night. You know, think after the deadline, probably 7 p.m. I'll put up the link always on Twitter at 3 yards per carry. That's the number 3 yards per carry. You can get our podcast anywhere you get your podcasts.
Fantastic stuff as always, man. I always feel like when I can chat with you right after a Dolphins game, and it's always losses. I mean, the last 7 weeks it's been all losses. It's like a therapy session being able to talk this stuff out with you. So thank you so much, Alf. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, and I promise all your listeners, it's not my fault they're losing, okay? The Dolphins could not care less that I appear on this show every week of this losing streak, all right?
Oh, if anything, they blame me because I'm a mush, even though it's not like I've been picking the Dolphins to win games. So I don't know what I'm mushing, but I'm usually the one who gets blamed for this. All right, man, we'll talk again next week.
All right, Donno.
Oh, man, fantastic stuff. So yeah, we said a lot there. By the way, how about this? We're going to be talking sports betting in a few minutes with my guy Mass from the Daily Stakes. Miami Dolphins. Now, I'm no sucker here, so I'm not going to fall into this trap. I love the Miami Dolphins, but there's no way I'm falling for this bait. The Dolphins are 7-point favorites against the Houston Texans next week. Now, I know the Texans are awful, but I've already watched with my own eyes the Miami Dolphins lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. So if you think I'm going to look at this team and say I am convinced they're going to beat anybody by more than 7 points, you got to find another sucker. Right? I'm not going to buy that bridge in Brooklyn you're trying to sell me. I'm not buying that land out in the Everglades you're trying to sell me. If you think I'm actually going to play the Miami Dolphins -7, I don't care if they were playing against a junior varsity team from Palm Beach County. I'm not picking the Dolphins to beat anybody by 7 points right now. Should they beat the Texans? Absolutely. Should they beat the Texans by more than 7 points? Yeah, probably so, but I'm not putting my hard-earned money on it. Maybe if I were independently wealthy, like maybe if, I just had like a distant relative I've never heard of who passed away and they left me $3 trillion, maybe I would bet like $11 out of that $3 trillion on the Dolphins covering a 7-point spread. But I was not born yesterday, bros. I was not born yesterday. Oh, man. Brooklyn Rob says if Mush takes the Texans, the Finns will win. Probably so, but I want to set my rules straight on the what I do with my beloved teams. You guys should know this by now. I am incredibly superstitious. Now, sometimes, even though like Brooklyn Rob points out, I probably shouldn't because of my mushing powers. Sometimes I will bet on one of the teams that I support, whether it be the Dolphins, Hurricanes, Miami Heat. Although the Miami Heat are so good, they're beyond mushable. Like I can't even mush those guys. They're playing so well right now. My beloved Inter Milan, Inter Miami. I don't trust those guys to win any game at this point. But yeah, I will bet on local teams, but I do not ever bet against my teams, at least not on a spread or a money line. I'll bet sometimes, in like, over unders and stuff, but I try to stay away from that stuff when it comes to my teams. Hey, I want to remind you guys, our newest partner here on Donno Daily. If you want to take advice from people who don't mush things, you want to get your advice from thedailystakes.com. The Daily Stakes will change the way you bet on sports. They empower you with the same analytics used by both the sharps and the sports books. These are the people you need to listen to, not me. The Daily Stakes founders are massive sports fans, yes, of course, and they also come from professional backgrounds in financial modeling, corporate consulting, and data analytics. So in other words, not only are they very smart, but they understand all aspects of the sports betting industry inside and out, from the eye test to the analytics to the trends and how to harness this knowledge to give you the edge that you need to win, okay? They give you actionable information and data-driven analysis you need in order to use the data that the pros use to help you win your bets consistently. Guys, they offer comprehensive coverage of all the major sports leagues, including the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, and the UFC. Their track record is proven and transparent. So you can see right on the site. And if you want to, like if you want to take a couple of weeks and track it yourself before you sign up, of course, by all means, man, you can see that these guys are the real deal. Members on this site will unlock exclusive perks like weekly giveaways and contests as well. Become a member. You can unlock an all sports trial for 7 days for only 99 cents. You really have nothing to lose. And also, if you want to unlock one of their great packages, like the sports league of your choice, if you want to just pick one, like the NFL, NBA, for example, you can get that for just $14.99 a month. Guys, you know that I do a lot in the gambling space. I've never found a deal this good from anybody else, right? Because, and a lot of people will tell me, hey, like there are certain services I'm thinking of using, but they charge you so much per month. I'm going to have to bet a ton of money just to try and make a profit because the service charges me so much. Even if you're just like a recreational sports bettor, you put $20, $30, $40 on a game, you may feel like, oh, it's some of these sites out there. I don't bet enough money to justify a membership somewhere. Guys, not only are the daily stakes really good at what they do, it's so affordable. You can still be like a recreational bettor and you can still profit through their advice. It's unbelievable. So you can get the league of your choice for just $14.99 a month. This to me is the best deal of all of them. The all sports plan. You can unlock everything on the site for just $29.99 a month. And by the way, we've got a deal for you. If you use our code 5, that's FIVE. We have a code now with the daily stakes, FIVE. You can save 20% on that. Play smarter, bet smarter with the daily stakes. Sign up today at thedailystakes.com. We bring in now a good friend of mine, and we're both miserable soccer fans as well. He's especially miserable today. Mass Riccio, my guy Massimo from the Daily Stakes, who's a big Roma supporter. Mass, before we get into everything going on with the NFL and all that, I thought your guys got screwed yesterday with some of these calls. Are you doing okay?
I mean, it's interesting. We can't really blame the refs. I know some calls are soft, but then again, we all know the consistency issues with calls in Serie A when it comes to the reffing throughout the season so far and also historically. But I mean, we can't rely on the refs to bail us out with a couple of bad missed calls. The team came out sleepwalking, and we paid the price. It is what it is, and they showed urgency in the last 20 minutes. It's too late at that point, even with a 10-man Milan. So yeah. I know we didn't do Inter any favors. I kind of feel bad there.
Yeah, thanks for nothing.
Yeah, we tried.
Oh so, my God.
We'll see how that pans out the rest of the year. Hopefully something gives. I mean, Mourinho obviously doing his usual antics in the post-press conferences and blaming everyone and their moms, so we'll see.
Well, you know, obviously me as an Inter supporter, I've got a lot of love for Mourinho. A lot of like Premier League fans hate this guy. I don't know how Roma fans feel about him now, but I've got a lot of love for Mourinho. And listen, I love what you, Nick, and Dylan are doing at the Daily Stakes. We have Monday Night Football tonight, and this is one of those games where I'd love to know where we find value on this, okay? Because the Kansas City Chiefs, who've not really been themselves this season, right? They're 10.5-point favorites at home against a crappy New York Giants team. So if you want to bet the Giants, they're getting 10.5 points. KC are big favorites at minus 10.5. The over-under in this game is 52. I have found myself getting very over happy lately, and I'm wondering, like, if Pat Mahomes can figure things out, then maybe an over there could be a good play. But what do you guys see tonight, 8:15 p.m., New York Giants at Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, it's going to be an interesting game because obviously, like you said, it seems like the NFL has kind of figured out Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. He's not taking care of the ball very well, and you see it with the amount of turnovers. 9 picks in, it's been 7-8 games this season?
I think 7 games, yeah.
So it's not good numbers. Yeah, he's thrown for 18 touchdowns, but it's not looking good. He's used to bailing himself out with just his natural talent and his arm. You've seen him make some really crazy throws to get himself out of trouble under pressure. And I think everyone's aware of that now. They know what to expect, the unexpected from him. So you're seeing defenses kind of take advantage of that. What's also not helping is obviously their defense as well, right? Their defense is looking incredibly suspect. And the AFC right now, with the emergence of the Bengals recently, even though they lost to the Jets yesterday, there's a lot of teams that they should be beating, and they've lost to so far. You got your Ravens, the Titans, you've got the Chargers as well, and the Bills. And the Bills are a big one because Josh Allen and the Bills are rolling. Yesterday was a little slow for them, but they still got the result they wanted. So
right,
it's the Chiefs aren't really establishing themselves as that powerhouse everyone expected coming into the season, and they're looking human. And it's going to be interesting moving forward. This game's, I find this one a bit of a trap game after kind of looking at everything going on. In terms of the odds for the spread, I don't think either team can probably cover that at all. At -10, it all depends though. Like the Chiefs do need a statement game coming into this one to kind of right the ship and kind of show everyone, hey, we're still kicking, we're still the Chiefs, albeit a very soft Giants team that hasn't been performing that well lately. So the value here I find after kind of looking at everything is maybe going with the over because the Kansas City defense is suspect. And I think Daniel Jones, if he could get a rhythm going, they can put up numbers. So we'll see how that goes. And also the injury reports and whatnot also kind of matter. I know there's a couple questionable guys on the receiving core on the Giants end. I'm not sure if Kelsey, I know he was listed with a neck problem for Kansas City. So Mahomes losing one of his other favorite targets could be a bit of an issue. He strikes me a bit like Aaron Rodgers though, with his trust with his receivers. Like he keeps going to the same targets time and time again. It's always the usual Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelsey, and teams are reading into that. He needs to spread the ball out more. Some guys like Pringle and McCole Hardman, I think, are serviceable for him. He just doesn't really send the ball their way. So we're seeing trust issues here with Mahomes and his receivers.
I like it. That's a good breakdown. Now, in the NBA, our viewers, of course, as I am, are Miami Heat crazy. They're off to an incredible start to the season. I'm looking, they were number 1 in the Athletics power rankings today. Jimmy Butler, as one of my viewers pointed out in the comments, was named Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Very well deserved. 5-1, 2-1 on the road. They're going to face the Dallas Mavericks in Big D tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. What do you like here? Now, the Heat have been absolutely rolling lately, Mass.
I'm really liking the Heat. We're all very high on the Miami Heat here at the Daily Stakes. They've proven time and time again they can hang with the best of them and win. They've been doing well against some of the top tier teams that everyone's kind of projected out in the East as well.
Yeah.
Dallas is looking vulnerable. As good as Doncic is, they've been struggling against some of the bottom half teams and barely beating them. And they haven't been really hanging well with teams that are contenders on the season for the championship this year. So we like the Miami Heat against on the spread. They're not up yet. We haven't seen anything, but it should be anywhere between 5 to 8 points. So it would be that would be our pick here is the Miami Heat. Not a homer pick on just to please you guys, but I truly think they can do it out in Dallas.
You know, I would agree. We will let the good times keep rolling, man. And bro, I know you're a big hockey guy as well up there in Canada. At least I'm assuming you are because you're Canadian, and that's a stereotype.
Love hate.
It's
a love hate. Yeah, I've kind of fallen out of love with the sport a little bit. I still follow here and there. It's just this city, and we're out in Montreal. It's a miserable time for us right now in our hockey team. That's for sure.
Oh my god,
it's bad. They just sent down Cole Caulfield to the minors. It's really interesting. The wheels are falling off early in the season, but that's the double-edged sword about having a team as historic as the Habs, and the media coverage here is relatively toxic. It's not conducive for you see it. Superstars kind of struggle to want to come here despite being double taxed and taxed more than anywhere else in the league. But the media doesn't really play a big part in helping that situation, I think.
How does that double tax thing work? Is there like additional Quebec taxes? Like, what is that?
Yeah, across Canada, we're one of the highest taxed people. So that does play a part. It's just, I think it's more the media. There's a lot of pressure put on players, especially the French Canadian players that come play here. There's an unreal standard set on them to really just to perform, but it doesn't seem to work out. I think the pressure kind of gets to them.
Yeah, you know,
Panthers are doing well though.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and something you were talking about there with the pressure, we kind of have the opposite of that down here in Florida. That I think a lot of players like to come down here knowing because just the amount of pressure here. I'm not going to say it's completely non-existent, but compared to Canada or compared to like some of the traditional hockey markets in the States, like New York, Chicago, There's just a lot less pressure down here, where a lot of Panthers players, for the most part, with a few exceptions over the years, like maybe Roberto Luongo might have been really recognizable, but I think even Alexander Barkov, who's like one of the best players in the NHL, can walk down the street here and most people have no idea who the guy is. It's like the sort of thing you get in Florida, you don't get in too many hockey markets.
No, it's great to be able to walk around the streets with that level of anonymity. Whereas if you were to be walking out in like a larger hockey market, like you said, people are going to stop you. You have no sense of privacy. It becomes a bit overwhelming depending how you're performing throughout the year also, because there's always the good with the bad when it comes to encountering your fans out on the streets. So
yeah, no doubt about that. So listen, I'm very happy that you guys at the Daily Stakes are bullish on the Miami Heat and bullish on the Heat for tomorrow night. He's Mass Richo. Mass, let people know, man, not only with the Daily Stakes, and I'll talk about the deals again, but where can people find you, sir?
on Twitter at Mass148, so MASS148. You could also follow everything on at the Daily Stakes on Twitter as well, and obviously check out our website.
Yeah, it's a good follow and a great website. Mass, thank you so much, man. We'll talk to you again soon, sir.
No problem. Take care, Alex. Thanks for having us on.
All right. Awesome. You're welcome. Well, what a great dude. And yeah, guys, I'll mention again, go to thedailystakes.com. You can get for 1 week an all sports preview for just 99 cents. Like, you really have nothing to lose. They have statistical models and betting predictions on every game you can imagine in the NFL, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, and the UFC, which I know you guys know I love so much. And then if you want to, at the end of that trial, sign up for one of their packages, which are very affordable. NFL or NBA only, NHL only, for example, for just $14.99 a month, or the all sports plan. This is the best deal, $29.99 per month for the all sports plan. You can sign up with our code 5 FIVE and save 20% on those packages. Thedailystakes.com. Brooklyn Rob says the mush can't walk the streets. His fans attack him for his terrible picks. Yeah, outside of the picks that are our friends like Nick Dillon and Mass from the Daily Stakes, or Barry Barger or Lee Sterling gave me some good picks for the weekend. Guys, when I go rogue, things get ugly. Things get really, really ugly. Oh man. Hey, but before we wrap it up, I want to look at a few more tweets. Manny, if you're able to bring those up, I think Sean may have had to dip out already. I referenced this when Alfredo Arteaga was on. I mean, you've even got Miami Dolphins legends, Larry Zonka, undefeated 72 team, legendary running back, Hall of Famer, Ring of Honor with the Dolphins. Larry Zonka is even tweeting out after the game, sad times for hashtag Miami Dolphins fans, hoping for better days ahead, but it seems obvious it's time to get back to basics and revisit the drawing board. Hashtag Miami versus Buff. Hashtag total rebuild. Now, when you talk about total rebuild with this team, I don't know specifically what he's referring to, but it's kind of hard to rebuild the roster when you just started doing that within the last 3 years. Maybe total rebuild, the way that Larry Zonka sees it, could be front office, coaching staff. Hard to argue that. You see the coaching from Flores. You see the coaching from the half dozen offensive coordinators. You see the way this team has been constructed through the draft and free agency by a general manager who clearly has had more misses than hits, swings and misses along the way for Chris Grier. I could see a total front office rebuild being something that's necessary here. It's hard to rebuild the entire roster when you've just done that. Now, maybe that's his code for saying you go out and you make a Deshaun Watson deal happen. And he's never said that explicitly, as Larry Zonka. And let me pull up here a tweet from Alfredo, who was on with us earlier. Alfredo tweeted out, I understand that fire Chris Grier is popular, but I can't stress this enough. This is a team that has been coached to 1-7, not built to 1-7. I don't think they've been built well, but yeah, at worst, maybe they've been built for like 4-4, not 1-7, man. I want to pull up and hopefully Manny can hop in if he's able, because I want to get his take on this as well and you guys' take. Pull up for me, Manny, this tweet from the Miami Heat store with the photo of the new Miami mashup. So they've run out of color combinations for Vice gear. So we're not doing Vice stuff anymore. I enjoyed most of it, but it jumped the shark. The Vice gear jumped the shark with the Vice wave. That was hideous, but I love the black, I love the white, I love the pink, I love the baby blues, but when they mashed it up, when they did the Vice wave and they mashed it up, that was bad. Now they're doing a mashup kit, which looks like the type of note you leave when you've kidnapped somebody and you're asking for the ransom, right? Because they've got all the different lettering fonts on Miami. You can choose different number fonts on there. I think this looks like a clown vomited is what I think these jerseys look like. I'm not a fan of it, and I've seen the mashup court, which I think is somewhat hideous as well. So you, like, Manny, give me your honest assessment. And let me make this loud and clear, okay? Let me make this loud and clear. I do not care what you wear as long as you win. Like, do you remember when they had those military appreciation uniforms, which were super ugly? And I kind of felt like I couldn't criticize the uniforms because then people would be like, bro, you don't support the troops? What are you saying? You don't support? No, I'm not saying I don't support the troops. I'm just saying the military uniforms are freaking hideous. I think these are hideous as well. But if you win, I do not care what you wear. You can wear New York Knicks uniforms if you want to. Well, actually, no. If you wore those, you would never win anything. But what do you think, Manny? Do you like these jerseys? Knowing you've probably ordered one already.
I like the shorts. Now, as far as the jerseys are concerned, when I found out that you can actually get it customized to whatever font you want, whatever letters you want, I thought, you know what? That makes me feel a little bit better because I do understand what they try to do. They try to get all these jerseys that have been available throughout our history, and they try to combine them somehow, some way, right? But if it was just like a basic one where you couldn't really pick and choose what font you want, what coloring you want, what like style, I would probably say that this is just as bad as the yellow ones that came out before. I am not a fan of the yellow ones. I'm still trying to understand. I get it.
I
Trophy
forgot about
gold.
those. Those were bad too. Oh, those were Pacers
Those
uniforms.
are hideous. But we didn't have an option like we do with these, right? It's not like we have an option on how we want to spell Miami. We have an option on what numbers we want, what font. I think that's what makes it so unique. And to me, it actually changes my opinion. You want Manny's opinion on fashion? You have to be kidding. Well, listen, I was trying to ask fashion for Juve. What is it, yesterday? And you guys ended up losing, so it's all right.
I love it. Yes.
Listen. Again, the fact that we can actually pick and choose what fonts we want, and the players themselves were able to pick and choose what they want, I think that makes it a little bit more, I guess, to me, more appealing. But if it was just like a basic number where you couldn't really change anything to it, I can probably say these and the yellow ones are just running out of ideas. Again, I don't blame them, right? Not every single jersey is going to come out. It's going to be like, wow. But at the end of the day, if they end up winning the championship in them, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't care.
If they win a championship, if they win a championship winning those rags, I will buy one.
Yeah. So you asked if I pre-order one. No, but I will probably pre-order a customized one. I still haven't yet decided which fonts I want.
Ooh.
Because again, it is an all-black jersey, right? You can't go wrong with an all-black jersey. So you got to pick and choose what color combinations you want.
Yeah.
And fonting. Once I make that selection, I will show you guys first before I make the purchase. But if you're able to do that, I mean, that to me speaks volumes because now everybody can be creative with it. You're just not stuck with the M of the Floridian. You're not stuck with the M of the Vice. Like you're able to choose the M from the third red jersey back in 2006 when you won the championship, right? I mean to me that's huge because that's the jersey letter font that we won the championship with in Dallas, right? And then those are the things that I see, overall. But again, to have that option to me, it improves it a little bit. But if it was just this basic, I probably wouldn't. No. But the yellow ones to me are far worse.
Which of your sneakers would this go best with? Would the ugly the cloud looking ones? I can't remember what they're called.
No, well, I would probably
PJ Tuckers, right?
No, the PJ Tuckers have light colors. Here, you'll only see the light colors in the font.
That's a good point.
I would probably have to go with the red foam runners.
Foam runners. I forgot what those were called.
By the way, I wore those bad boys in Disney for 2 straight days. Quality, baby. My feet were in perfect condition after 8-9 hours.
But were you getting compliments?
Studios. Oh, I was getting looks.
Well, you know what happened? Like, okay, so we're in Florida.
Well, besides you telling me that, how did they let you in with those things?
Yeah. Well, no, because like obviously in Florida, there's not like a whole lot of like social distancing still going on. But Manny Chang brought social distancing back because no one wanted to be within 6 feet of his shoes. Is what was happening at Disney. Like Manny was like, people were putting their masks on when Manny came by. They were stepping way back. Manny's like, wow, I didn't realize people were still this concerned about the pandemic. No, they were concerned about the foam runners.
Sorry, I got interrupted. What was that?
No worries. No worries. Forget that. Let's move on from that. Do you have the one more tweet from Ethan from 5 Reasons Sports? So if people are interested in what these jerseys are all about, this is the backstory of the Miami Heat ransom jerseys, the ransom note jerseys, aka the mashup jerseys. Some backstory, and they talked about this on the latest 5 on the Floor. I encourage everyone to listen to that. He says players pick their own jersey number styles from 8 Heat eras. Those are called Player's Choice and will be available in stores. Fans can create their own combos online, which Manny talked about. And I didn't even notice this. So because they put a picture of the mashup court as well, and there's a yellow rope on the court. Is that must be symbolizing when the San Antonio Spurs had that yellow rope that was brought out at the arena. The rope that was out there before Ray Allen hit the shot.
Yep. I mean, so then that's what I'm trying to tell you. If you're a diehard Heat fan, you can see certain moments that, listen, for me, I know I'm going to get a special lettering from all 3 of the titles that we won. Unfortunately, we've won 2 of them at home, right? Yeah, we won the OKC one at home, and we won the Spurs one at home. So I'll probably have to get the red lettering in twice. But like I said, for a good collector's edition, for you to make your own and for you to customize it, it's not bad. And to actually know that the yellow lining throughout the side and when you see the court means that. I mean,
I love that.
Again, I understand, right? You run out of ideas, and I get it. No more Vice. It is what it is. But listen, I don't think this Miami one's the worst one. Like, I've seen ones around the league, like the OKC ones look so damn basic.
Yeah.
The 76ers have to go back to the Spectrum days. I'm like, what the heck's going on? Like crazy stuff, but yeah.
As long as we don't get the mush up court, the mash up court, or the mush up court. Oh man, listen, I had a lot of fun today. Bottom line from the Miami Dolphins yesterday, they couldn't even figure out how to line up on offense. People need to be held accountable for that. People need to be held accountable. So far, the only offensive player or coach that's been held accountable up to this point is Jakeem Grant, who they traded. Why are the coaches getting a pass for this? Why are all the other players on the field and the ones who aren't on the field, like these injured wide receivers, why is nobody being held accountable for this except for Jakeem Grant? It is incredibly frustrating. By the way, I got a suggestion here, which is not a bad one, from David, who says, Donno, change the show time tomorrow so you can be on the air past 4 if you can. He's got a point, because if I'm on from 3 until 4, even if a trade happens by 4, it may not necessarily be announced until a little bit after 4. It's hard for me to start a show at 4 because I pick up my kid from daycare at 4:30 tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe I should look into doing something later in the day, like in the evening. I will consider it. I'll keep you guys updated on social media. For now, let's plan for the usual 3 p.m. start, because I can't start at 4, but maybe I could start later than 4. So we will figure these things out, but that is not a bad suggestion at all from David. Want to throw some shout outs. Andres, thank you so much for joining us today. Brooklyn Rob, thank you so much for joining us. John Marco, who is not related to Joe Paterno. We established that last week, even though he has the same last name as Joe Pa. No way related. Big Dan 305, who was not reacting to my face there, but I would forgive him if he was. He was reacting to the Heat mashup jerseys. And Big Dan 305, by the way, kudos to you, sir. He went up to Pittsburgh, PA, to watch the Miami Hurricanes and Tyler Van freaking Dyke beating the Pitt Panthers, number 17 in the country up there. That offense looks incredible. Van Dyke, I cannot sing enough praises of that redshirt freshman quarterback. who has earned my trust. He's got a rocket for an arm, very accurate with good touch on his deep throws. I trust Van Dyke's decision-making now, and I trust him to make every throw on the field. That's super impressive what he's been doing. Hello to Andy in Scotland. It's evening for him. He said, evening all. Anyone fired yet? Fins up. Not to my knowledge, no one has been fired yet, although it did take Flores a very long time to get to the media room yesterday. So you have to wonder if there are any deliberations on staff changes before he came out and talked to the media. Hello to B Smokey, who says Heat ranked number 1 in the latest power rankings. Feels good, man. They are, and it does feel good, and it's well-deserved. The Heat have, the only game that they lost was on the road in overtime without Kyle Lowry. Other than that, the Heat have looked like an absolute machine, and they've already got wins against Brooklyn and against Milwaukee, the two teams that are supposedly better than them in the Eastern Conference. It's been so impressive so far for the Heat. Hello to Richard Cartwright. Every time I see the last name Cartwright, no, I'm not thinking basketball. I'm thinking, do you remember the Seinfeld episode when George Costanza was waiting in the Chinese restaurant and he gave them the name Costanza and they kept saying, Cartwright? Like they thought that was the name he put down. He says, if the Finns get Watson, how long will it take before they win the AFC Championship? And also, if the Finns don't improve in the next 2 seasons, will Watson want out? Because the Finns and the Texans are the same team. That's definitely something I wonder, because he wanted, and it's not just football reasons though why he wanted out of Houston. He didn't like the front office and the culture there. I think that there are other reasons why he wanted, like, it wasn't just the fact that the Texans were bad. He had other issues there, but he does have a pattern of behavior that if he doesn't want to be somewhere, he's going to try and force his way out. So that is a risk you have to be willing to take. Hello to Andres. He says, Miami is what against the spread? 1-7 as well. That's a good question. I think you're right, because they were, obviously they covered against New England because they were underdogs and they won the game. I don't know if they've covered a spread since. They've obviously lost. That's a great question. I think you might be right. I think the Dolphins are, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody out there who's an avid gambler, but I think the Dolphins, I think he's right. They're also 1-7 against the spread. Hello to Welch. Thank you so much for joining us. Martina Davies, you are awesome. I see the game as 50-50 against the Texans. I see it that way as well, which is scary because the Texans are really bad. The Dolphins are really bad. Demetrius Phillips, hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Ryan, hello to you. Thank you so much. Frank Funke, any relations to Tobias Funke from Arrested Development? Fantastic show. If that's really your last name, that's cool as well. Kenneth Polvent, hello, or Polvent. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Zachary B. I think, I don't know what he was saying at this time, maybe telling Chris Greer to go out there and get Deshaun Watson. Shane M., hello. Let's see, who else? This is the part where you start to make sure you're not giving repeats with the shout outs. I think I may have already shouted out Ryan. He gets a double shout out, maybe. Hello to you. Perfect Q. Hello to you. This is the one that said when I referenced a Black Friday sale, he was telling me it's racist. Then he said he was just kidding. I figured you were just kidding, but it was a funny joke either way. Let me see. Who else? I think I already shouted out Zachary B., Andres, Brooklyn Rob, John Marco. I think I already shouted out. We might be out of shout outs. All right, that'll do it. Huge thanks to Sean Stanley. Huge thanks to Manny Chang and his ugly sneakers. Tomorrow's going to be crazy. Oh, and there he is wearing the foam runners at Magic Kingdom. Now, you got the camera far enough away there that you can't tell how ugly those shoes are from that distance. That's why people were socially distancing from Manny when he was at Disney World. Manny thought it was because of COVID. Like they were standing 6 feet away from him because of those goddamn shoes. That was what was going on there. Manny's shoes would scare kids on Halloween. Oh, man. By the way, I took my kid trick-or-treating. He had the time of his freaking life. He loves collecting candy from strangers. Like, it was an absolute thrill, like, collecting all that candy. Oh, my. He would have trick-or-treated for, like, an additional 5 hours if I wasn't tired of walking him around the neighborhood. That'll do it for us. Make sure you guys are supporting our awesome sponsors. BetUS.com. Sign up with our code 5RSN125 and get a 125% sign-up bonus. This is a full-service sports book. It's like having a Vegas sports book on your computer screen or on your smartphone right there in your pocket. It is tremendous. 5RSN125. Make sure you guys are dining and watching games at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. We are going to be out there 1 week from today. We have a 5 Reasons Sports watch party at the Quarterdeck location, Quarterdeck Sawgrass, right by FLA Live Arena. So come join us out there, watch the Heat at the Denver Nuggets, and watch Monday Night Football with us. It's going to be a good time. A good time will be had by all. And make sure you guys are signing up and supporting our newest partners at thedailystakes.com. You can get 20% off with our code 5, F-I-V-E, and make smarter betting decisions. You can actually even sign up for a $1 trial, all sports trial, for 1 week. You really have nothing to lose. You sign up for 1 week, $1 all sports trial. The worst that can happen is you lose $1, because you're going to win money betting their picks at thedailystakes.com. We will talk to everybody again on a busy trade deadline day. I think it'll be busy anyway tomorrow, right here on Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Ciao.